He should
President
be able.
Chagulanyi
Mr.
Sentamu,
President?
Robert Bobi speaking to Ugandans
Yeah.
in
Yes,
diaspora.
please. Yes, please.
Yes. You should be able to. You should be able to hear me. And
Yes, I can hear you, Comrade Marvin.
yeah, underneath is your camera. You can always tap it on, and you'll be able to come up. I think you should be able to. Yes, you're welcome, Mr. President. The floor is yours. I thought I would have Councillor Sassi Marvin previously, but I think I lost him in the process. But the floor is yours, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Comrade Marvin. First of all, kindly accept my apologies for coming on late. For the last 20 minutes, I've been struggling to get on, as you could be aware. I should have thought earlier on and do this program out of home. I just got back home, and since I advertised that I will be on, you know, they always try to jam the internet network around my home, knowing that we have permanent, regime people trying to at least make it impossible or hard for me to comment. We are here. I salute you, comrades. I don't know if you can still hear me all right.
Yeah, you keep cutting out, but I think we should be able to hear from you. At least on my end, I should be able. I can hear you loud and clear.
Thank you very much. I salute all of you, comrades, for the different initiatives of bringing us together and for this important engagement that we are having. I thank all comrades, the leadership, Dr. Daniel Kauma, you yourself, Comrade Marvin, the entire diaspora. I salute you. I salute comrades that we work with here at the Secretariat, Comrade Sasi. You do an immeasurable work. And all comrades that keep, the fire burning on the internet, I salute you. We just
Mr.
returned
President.
from Kawempe today.
Yeah, I'm not quite
Yes,
sure if you
please.
managed to enable your camera.
No, I think
My
you can go ahead.
camera.
Network might be an
Please give
issue.
me 2 seconds. My network, I'm not sure my network is going to support my camera as well, but please
It's
give me
okay.
2 seconds to try go on. Yeah, looks like it's having challenges. If
It's
you
okay.
would kindly permit me to speak to
Go
you
ahead. Go ahead, sir.
as
Yeah.
my genius Shadrach here tries to help me figure out how to get on camera. So I was briefing you, comrades. We just returned from Kawempe, Mbogo, and it was a very successful rally. We were able to speak to the people of Kawempe North while looking them in the eye. Of course, this did not come, smoothly. We had to, be bold and face the Jat guys and all the regime operatives that we were surrounding. This follows numerous abductions. So many of our comrades, we don't know where they are. While some have been dumped, you are aware of one of our comrades, Charles Bukenya Muvawala, who was abducted, tortured, and he surfaced again in Ulisa with numerous cuts. This is what has been happening and continues to happen to so many people in Uganda. I must salute them for being resilient. Today's show of support and the masses that turned up today is another demystification of the fear that the regime has been trying to plant in us, trying to criminalize our very existence, to criminalize the colors that we wear, to criminalize the conscience that we have in our minds, to criminalize generally our whole existence. And yet Uganda purports to be a multi-party democracy. But by the grace of God and the courage of the people, we have been able to stand firm and to hold. So I salute all comrades for being able to do that. I also salute our candidate, Comrade Nalukola Elias Ruyimbazi, who continues to offer great leadership, the desired leadership. We salute them. I am happy to be here, comrades, and relate with you and share thoughts with you and also attempt some questions. I thank you, Comrade Marvin.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. President, and welcome back from Kawempe. That was a very powerful
Thank you.
message.
Thank you,
We were
comrades.
live watching the Larry, and it was massive. And I pray that the peaceful that has been kept on today by the state mafias, we keep seeing that going forward. Monday, I know there's another preparation, but yeah, we pray that we keep in such peaceful means, because then the people have their liberty to express themselves and so on and so forth. So thank you so much and welcome back. Um, yes, the diaspora, for the four questions that we did send out to you, one was giving us an overhead of the current state of the liberation of the struggle that we're in. Probably people might need to know from the past, probably I can say since 2018, 2019, since when you're an MP and then you came into the presidency and up to where we are today. What is the current state of our struggle? Probably you could enlighten us on that, and probably people could hear from you.
There are different ways to respond to that question. There are the challenging ways, the motivating ways, and the depressing ways. However, the most direct that comes to my mind is that our struggle is on the move. Why do I say that? Is just like we usually say, that we are definitely not where we want to be, but we are not where we used to be. We keep putting one foot in front of the other. I must also mention that our struggle is at its most critical uh, phase. We are in a phase where the dictator is desperate and clearly sees that his end is inevitable. General Museveni of today is not the General Museveni of 10 years ago or even 5 years ago. Here we have a dictator who is about 84 years of age, frustrated and confused. Most dictators in history don't trust anybody. They always impose their own children. But very unfortunately for General Museveni, he does not seem to have that option because he has a very deluded son who keeps disappointing him at every turn. We must give it to General Museveni. He has been a smart dictator. No wonder he's the benevolent dictator that he is. He was smart enough to woodwink our parents way in the 80s. He has been smart enough to mislead the international community and give a false image, a rosy picture of Uganda, to the extent that the international community believed him and disbelieved and joined him in the castigation of all of those that were fighting against him. But his time is going out, and he sees a son who he thought is going to hand down Uganda like an inheritance, tearing down every little, piece of it that is given to him. So the dictator is both hungry and angry. He's disappointed and is like a venomous snake right now. Of course, like we always say, it's always darker when morning light is about to break. So dictators are always more ferocious towards their fall. That is where General Museveni is. No wonder he's no longer ashamed. He does not care about his reputation. He does not care about anything. All he cares about is to be able to survive another day. And that means he's going to be at his most color stage. is going to be more dangerous than he has ever been. But most importantly, he's more vulnerable than he has ever been. This is the most dangerous phase of our struggle, but it's the most hopeful of our struggle. So I would say our struggle is on the move and we are nearing liberation. But again, this is where we need the most work, the most push, the most commitment, and the most sacrifice.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. President. So,
I thank you.
looking at we have the other opposition parties, and these different opposition parties, we are people power movement. Some of them don't believe in us. Some of them, yet we are all fighting for a one common goal. What have we done, or what do you have to say with those that have failed to come and join the fight that we're all in? Maybe something that you'd love to throw lights on. Mr. President, are you there? Yeah, comrades, the network may not be the best, but Doctor, you can hear me?
Yes,
Okay,
I hear
okay.
you.
I just wanted to make sure it's not me who has lost the connection. Yeah. Comrades, keep sharing our space and keep following each other, because then this is the only way we get to connect with one another. Yeah, his network is not the best. I can see that text. Yeah, but we'll keep having him in and out a little bit, but eventually I think we should be able to have him. Yeah, keep sharing, and you can always type in your questions in the chat room. And I'm gonna request Comrade Be Nice, Sarah, if you can also look into those different questions that we do have. Mr. President, whenever you're back on, please let me know. I think we lost you a little bit.
Thank you, Comrade. I didn't get the question. Do you want me to read out the questions that I have down, or do you want me to wait?
I think eventually we'll read them out once the president is done, so that he can be able to throw lights on it. Comrades, this space should not be a space to resolve matters within regions, we are here basically to look at solutions, to provide solutions to what we need for going forward 2026, and also, addressing the things that we think are going to push us forward. Yeah, that's why we are here to interact with the president, pretty much to hear from him, and also at the same time, getting a feedback from him. Mr. President, I don't know if you're on.
Yeah, I think he dropped off, but we do have Sasim Marvin on for now, our Secretary of Diaspora Affairs for the National Unity Platform. I think we can engage Sasim Marvin while we wait for the president, and also our Vice President, Western Uganda. I don't know if she's on yet.
She's here,
so I think we can do that, and while we wait for the president.
Okay, thank you so much. Councillor Sasim Marvin, if you have a moment, please, you can go ahead. Oh, President is trying to connect again. Yeah, they must be playing around with his microphone. I mean, with his network at home. Yes, councillors. Oh, okay. Mr. President, I think you're back, but you keep cutting out.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can now hear you.
Thank you very much. You will bear with me, comrades. My internet keeps cutting for obvious reasons, but whenever I am back, I will grab the opportunity to respond as much as possible until I'm cut off again.
That's okay, Your Excellency.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my question was before you broke off. I know
Yeah.
we've tried different efforts to making sure that we bring on other opposition or political parties that are trying to, we have the same common goal, and this seemed to be a challenge. What have we done as NUP, and where do you see ourselves with other political parties in the goal to remove the dictator?
Thank you very much. First of all, Comrade Marvin and all our friends that are here, I want us to disabuse ourselves of the word political party. We must not reduce the freedom of Ugandans to political party or politician. It's important for all Ugandans, those that are politically active and those that come off as apolitical, to understand that this is a struggle to liberate a nation. If we reduce it to political party, then we are reducing it to some people. There are those that don't belong to political parties. So many people actually don't find comfort in any grouping, but the truth remains the truth that they are oppressed. And why am I saying that? Many political parties here in Uganda, with all due respect, are just groupings of politicians to satisfy themselves. So you cannot say that the politics of Uganda or the freedom of Ugandans is going to be only ushered in by political parties. Of course, political parties, those that are on the side of Ugandans, those that are fighting against this oppression, have a role to play. But you must also understand that there are so many political parties that are formed or have been reduced to just eating clubs. So my conceived view is that it is not just a matter of political parties. It is Ugandans coming together. Those that are in political parties, those are in business working groups, and those in civil society. Ugandans from different walks of life. The majority of our people, those border people you see, they actually don't hold a party card of any political party. When you go to prison, majority of the political prisoners are not subscribers to any political party. They just subscribe to the truth. Many of our comrades with whom we have been pushing the people power movement, some of them actually don't believe in the idea of reducing their freedom to a political party. They are in the struggle for freedom. And many of them say it loudly that once the dictator is fallen, they can go and do their business in freedom. They can go and go about their lives in freedom. So what the people the people that need to come together are Ugandans, those in political parties and those that are not in political parties. So what do I mean in that case? What I mean is that we should mobilize Ugandans from all platforms, not only from political parties, but from all platforms. Otherwise, if we reduce this matter to political parties, then General Museveni can get 10, maybe 20 political parties, bundle them together, and then present them as the representation of the population, which is not true. We need to come together as Ugandans, yes, from different political parties, but even those that don't represent political parties. I don't know if I have responded to the to your
Yeah.
satisfaction. My
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. President, for that. Yeah. At least now people need to understand it's not about the political party that you belong in, but
yeah.
that need. Yeah. So thank you so much for that. Um, yeah, I understand there have been different things that the diaspora has been trying to do. Um, what more do we see on how best to empower the diaspora, especially if we all subscribe to our secretariat? What has the secretariat done to empower us more, or where do you think we should be more empowered more as the diaspora, as far as this struggle is concerned?
Thank you very much for that question. Now, again, and it's interesting that I am a leader of a political party, but when I'm addressing the diaspora, I would rather address the diaspora in its entirety. Because even before the coming of the National Unity Platform, people in the diaspora were woke. They were agitating for a better Uganda. So I wouldn't want to just reduce the entire diaspora to the National Unity Platform. Yes, the National Unity Platform is the formal platform upon which we all come together. But we know that our diaspora is much wider than that. If anything, I would have loved to address it as a people power movement. So, coming back to the diaspora, I must appreciate most of our energy, most of our force comes from the diaspora. The information dissemination, the agitation. It is you people that have used the internet to the fullest with confidence to the extent that you've inspired us to speak truth to power. Most of the bloggers that empower people, those radicals, but even the mild ones, they push a message that speaks crude truth to power. So I must salute you. And besides that, as a national unity platform, we depend on you, comrades in the diaspora, a great deal. You have funded our campaigns. You have treated our sick in hospital. You have fed us on the rail, and you continue to connect and knock doors and agitate and lobby to ensure that policies change, to push for change in Uganda, and we salute you. But you can do more. Allow me to borrow the words of Comrade Daniel Kauma, our diaspora leader, who said the three things that the diaspora can do and are effective. That is organize, mobilize, and agitate. Let us organize the diaspora so that we can be able to speak as one voice. I see many times when we ourselves are clashing, especially in the diaspora. And I must salute Comrade Daniel Kauma for the leadership. He has taken a lot of heat, like many of us here. But again, that is the price of leadership. So I salute you very much. Let us organize ourselves so that, number one, we speak with one voice and we also act with one voice. Let us mobilize each other so that any kind of action, moral action, we do it together. If it's protesting, if it's lobbying, if it's showing up in various places, if it's knocking doors, we should do it in unison. And finally, agitation. Make sure they keep hearing you nonstop in their ears. Those in the those development partners that are actually the wind beneath the dictator's wing, they should be they should be constantly agitated. They should be constantly reminded that they are actually sponsoring our oppression, and then agitate even on the side of the dictatorship here in Uganda. Keep our voices loud. Keep the issues that matter on the front page. Keep knocking those doors. Keep protesting. I want to remind you, friends in the diaspora, that it is your protests that keep me alive. It is your protests that are causing the releasing or dumping of our people. Uganda right now is worse than the days of Idi Amin, because in the days of Idi Amin, it's only the intellectuals that Idi Amin was abducting. Today, the drones are abducting the women that sell kasoli on the road, the border riders, the barbers, and all common people of Uganda that are calling for change. So it's important that the diaspora keeps their eyes on Uganda and keeps our voices there. I thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, Mr. President, for that. The message is loud and clear. Doctor, are you there? Dr. Daniel, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
I'll bring you through so you can take on the rest of the remaining questions with the president. Please go ahead. The floor is on. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. President, for those remarks and for re-echoing our focus as a diaspora to organize, mobilize, and agitate for change. That's something which we need to continue pushing forward. My next question, and I think it's the question on the minds of many Ugandans, people ask, what can we do different, especially as we look to 2026, even beyond elections. The question is always, is what we are doing working? Is what we are doing effective? Is it moving the needle? I think it's a tough question to answer strategically, and of course, we're in a public domain where we can only say a limited amount of information. But overall, in the struggle, usually we have nothing to hide. We say, what's our strategy moving forward, and how are we going to move the needle differently from where we have in the past? And that's the question we face in the diaspora from many of our members. You saw how energized the diaspora was in the 2021 elections. I think most people thought that this was it. Many diaspora members were ready to pack their bags and go back to Uganda. And of course, they went through that disappointment. And we're often reminded that this is a marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah.
But most of our members don't see it that way. They want results. They want to see that we have a strategy to get rid of Museveni. So, what do you think
We can do
we
different.
can do more, both in the diaspora and, of course, in the ground, to move the needle, to motivate our people? Because we know what Museveni is doing is to abduct people daily, beat people on the streets, and they scare people from coming even to vote for their candidates.
Right?
So how can we as Ugandans be more emboldened
Thank
to
you.
be able to face the dictators like we have seen in other countries?
Absolutely. Thank you, Doctor. That questions in most cases comes off as a pessimistic question, but it's a question that needs to be addressed in the affirmative. My view is we shouldn't just be asking what should we do different. I think, and I believe you mentioned it. What can we do more? I want you to know that what we are doing things right. We just need to continue and not give up. The Baganda say, adingana mauru yagajamu omukuto. In English, I would say persistence breaks resistance. We are doing everything right. If only we do not stop. Only if we don't stop. Because if we have brought the dictatorship to a point of fearing a color, of fearing overalls, to the extent that they are in parliament trying to legislate against an overall, a red overall, not knowing that they can spend a lot of taxpayers' money legislating against a red overall, and tomorrow we come up with a white one, or a blue one, or a yellow one. We just need not to give up. I want to remind all of us, comrades, that everything is on our side. Besides the law, besides morality being on our side, besides the people being on our side, time is on our side. We are fighting with a guy who is way in his 80s and is waning, and even those that feed from his hands know that we are the ones that are moral and right. So all we need to do is not to give up. We are non-violent, at least so far, at least for us. And you know that non-violence is much more powerful than violence. That they are trying as much as possible to push us to the violent line so they can deal with us violently. Even when we don't be violent, they're trying to at least try to paint us as a violent group so they can be able to deal with us violently and crush us. We all know that, I mean, there's military discipline. That's why some of us who were scouts are disciplined. That is why we always stand in the soldier formation as a display of discipline. But you saw recently that they want to term us as a rebel group because we march in a formation, in a disciplined manner, like scouts, like Christians, like students, like all groups. So the regime fears disciplined people. We should continue being disciplined. They fear thoughtful people. We should continue being thoughtful. They fear organized people. So we should continue being organized. In a nutshell, we should continue doing what you're doing, what we are doing, but do it in a much, even a much organized way and a much more moral way. We are doing things right. What we just need to do is continue doing them, continue the speed, multiply our efforts, and not give up. As I conclude that question, I must mention that there's some old gentleman that I met and gave me very, very important advice. Said, you people, you must know that besides being on the right track and on the right course, time is on your side. You should wear out the dictator. So what we have to do is wear out the dictator. Let's keep going. He will drop off. The guy will drop dead. Let us just continue going. We don't give up, knowing that it is not like Comrade Kaum has mentioned. This is not a sprint. It is a marathon. And we will have to outrun the dictator, which we are clearly doing. When you look at the next generation, they believe in the moral cause that we have. We have a just cause and we have the people on our side. Let us just keep doing more, not different, but more and more and more. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. And my last question is regarding, in reflection to what's going on with Kawempe North. We saw the level of excitement within the struggle, and the number of candidates who came to vie for that position at the Secretariat was exciting. What message do you have for the general Ugandan people in the struggle to make sure that we compete across the board, not just in the central region? I think there's been a perception that there's a lot of competition for positions that are now, not saying that people just want to be in positions, but we want people to step up for leadership positions.
Yeah.
But how can we mobilize to the level that there's interest for NUP and the struggle in general to compete across Uganda? Because we have had NRM, of course, through their gerrymandering. They have created so many MP positions. There are so many positions, even in the local government across the country. How are we prepared for 2026? Because it's here. We have to live with that reality to make sure that our people in the struggle are motivated to compete across the board, not just in the central region.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kauma. Again, allow me to use this opportunity to debunk the narrative that the NUP is only in the central or is only strong in the central. Because NUP is not just NUP. NUP is change, and everywhere people want change. There's a reason why the regime abducts people and tortures people so much in Western Uganda, because they don't want to be demystified. But in reality, we are just as big in Western Uganda as we are in Eastern Uganda. Of course, in the central, being that because of the proximity and the language and the ability for the information to move fast, the central region and most urbanized places are all covered with NUP. We have been encouraging, and I'm very glad that there's been massive response from leaders from across the country to join and run on the National Unity Platform ticket. That we continue to do. Of course, we do that amidst challenges and hardships, knowing that in northern Uganda, the regime makes it close to impossible for us to go and meet those people there, because as soon as we go there, it is massive. You've seen us from Yumbe to Karamoja to Teso to Kasese, all across the country. What we need to continue doing is encouraging our people to be bold and stand with the National Unity Platform. There's also been an effort to send out an intimidating message to leaders, prospective leaders, that if you run on the NUP ticket, even if you win, you will not be announced winner. So many people come to us and they're our members or they would like to run on the NUP ticket. But they are worried that if they run on an NUP ticket, then they will be very clearly targeted. And even when they win massively, they won't be declared. Just like it was in 2021. So many people in Western Uganda, in Northern Uganda, in Eastern Uganda were not declared, just like it was the case with Nakwede. Why? Because they wanted to send an intimidating message to deter them from associating with NUP, to the extent that some leaders actually, who are even friends to some of us, did not run on our ticket, even when they believe that the values that we stand for are the values that they share. So we are fighting back against propaganda. We are fighting back against state-inspired violence, especially that intended to block us from reaching far and wide beyond the central region.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. Because today is Women's Day, I'm going to give Sarah, our co-host, the chance to ask a question, and also if there are any other brief questions we can get from the chat to raise those questions. And then, Mr. Marvin, I'll hand over to you. I don't know how much time we have with the president to see if we can get a few individuals to ask questions, and then we can wrap up the session. Sarah, over to you.
Thank you so much, comrades, and thank you so much, Mr. President. We have quite a few questions. Some of them are repeat questions, but my personal question, which
Yes,
has always been discussed on this
Sarah,
space.
can you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah,
hello,
we
can
can
you
hear
hear
you.
me?
Yeah, we can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, so one of the questions
I
that,
think Sarah, she's unmuted, but I can't hear her.
We can hear our doctor.
can I carry
Yeah,
on?
go on, Sarah.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, my personal question has always been the protest vote. Having listened to so many different platforms and people's opinions, everyone seems to have a different idea of
Exactly.
what a
Yeah.
protest vote is. So, my personal question to the president is what is a protest vote? What should we, or what is expected of us? Because many people are confused about this. So, that's question number one. Number two, we have from Juliet Sechtoliko. She's asking, what can we do about Yasin Machete? And many people are asking about Yasin Machete because we stood with Dr. Kiza Besije. We did the 48-hour
ultimatum.
thing. Can you hear me? And
Yeah.
people are asking about Yasin Machete. The second question, I'll probably put down three. The second
May
one,
I request that I respond to those so we
yes,
make this
please.
interactive? Thank you very much. Protest, vote. Protest, vote. Just like it sounds. Akalulu kokwe kalakasa. It's a protest vote. We are protesting against the injustice. First of all, by going for that vote, it's a protest against the fear that the regime is trying to plant in the population. The regime since 2021 has been pushing a narrative deliberately on radio and TV, politicians discouraging people from getting involved in elections, saying, elections is fait accompli, elections is a done deal, so don't get involved in elections, to the extent that they went as far as announcing a person that came number 3. You remember the election in Omoro, but most importantly in Kayunga, where we won on every single polling station. And we have the declaration of result forms. However, the regime, Mr. Byabakama, in all his shamelessness, went ahead and announced Mwonge a regime candidate. This was intended to make people hate elections. And indeed, some people said, oh man, I will never go to elections again. It has taken us so much persuasion to convince these people to understand that whoever is trying to block them from an election wants them to go violent, because once the anger pumps and pumps and pumps, it will explode into violence, which violence the regime prides in. So, going to the polls, we are protesting against the fear that is deliberately being planted in us. And not only that, we are protesting against the regime imposing leaders on us. We are protesting against injustice, against the rampant corruption that I was speaking about earlier today. We are protesting against family rule. We are protesting against a presidential monarchy. So it is a protest vote that we are protesting against all these things. And it's a protest vote because it's a vote that if they rig, we intend to protest even much more in different ways that I might not be able to name right now for obvious reasons. But we are going into a protest vote in Uganda. Tugenamo kalulu kwekalakasa. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much,
You
Mr.
also
President.
asked about
Yeah.
Yasin Machete. Yeah, and I'm very glad you asked about Yasin Machete. Yasin Machete is pencil thin. I am not very sure how he is today. The last time I was in prison, a few days ago, he was so thin. His mother requested me to go to prison with her and persuade the son to at least start eating and abandon his hunger strike because his mother believed that I'm the only person that Machete would listen to. Unfortunately, when we reached there, after all the talk, Machete explained to us, and we understood and respected him. He said, Mama, I want to be taken to court. I've been here for more than 4 years. I'm here illegally because the Supreme Court, ruled, pronounced itself. Then I'm here illegally. If I don't get justice, I will never get justice. And he said that if he dies, we must ensure that at least they take his body to court so that he gets justice. Now, that's very painful for me to say, to be saying right now. As an individual, and I mentioned it a while, me and a few other friends, because Machete is a Muslim, we took time to fast in solidarity with him and keep praying. But that is not all. We ask you, comrades in the diaspora, to raise Machete's voice, to highlight his plight like we have done with other people in the past. Machete's life matters too, and his life is on the line, and is in prison illegally. And pressure works. If we raised pressure and Dr. Kebi was brought to court, and now he's being tried in a civilian court, we believe we can do it for Machete. And my call is that in whichever language, in whichever style, let us agitate for Machete. Because if he dies, before we do that, we will never forgive ourselves. I thank you.
I've got a couple of my other questions. Can I carry on?
Please go on.
Yeah, the next one is from Madraxis Nelly. He's asking, is there any way that people who are not able, like people in diaspora, who are not able to attend the leadership school but have interest in doing so, is there a possibility of arranging something online so that they too can get to learn what others are learning? And the next one is from Mulunji Elvin, who says that there is evidence of the candidate, NRM candidate Farida in Kawempe. There's evidence of videos of her giving money to supporters to vote for her. Can we use that evidence to take to Biabakama by any chance so that she could be disqualified?
Thank you very much. I apologize that maybe I will respond to this question and leave my colleagues, Sasi Marvin and my other fellow leaders to carry on with this program. However, I must remind us, because we all know, that we are under capture. There's no rule of law in Uganda. I've already mentioned that in a Kayunga election where we have all the declaration of result forms, they announced the loser. And that's how it is. And in many cases, petitions have been brought, but because there's no rule of law, the regime always gets away with it. You have seen criminals beating people, killing people. You have seen people abducted, and the courts don't function. You have judges like Singiza who sent Kakwenza to prison instead of sending him to the ICU. You've seen judges sending people like Dr. Besige to court. This is a whole rotten judicial system. We have people that are illegally in prison. We have Machete who is on the verge of death in prison illegally. That means that there's no rule of law. So coming to the NRM candidate, yes, we've all seen her giving out money. But you've seen much more than that. You've seen goons protected by police with the national guns in police and military uniform beating our candidate in open air. The most they said is, oh, it is wrong, but maybe because looks like the NUP candidate paid the police to beat him. Apparently, that's what they say. So Uganda is a joke until we turn it into a serious country. We
Yeah.
are going into this election, but we want to win overwhelmingly with a knockout. Because if we don't win with a knockout, they can do anything. This is the reason why we say this is a protest vote in the real sense of it, because there is clearly no fairness. I thank you.
Yeah.
And
Mr. President, I understand that was your last question, but in regards to that particular one, we've seen the high rise of the Museveni's government in prediction to 2026, whereby we can kind of predict or have a little bit of a picture in 2026 how it's going to be, where we're always attacked and we are beaten and we are taken to prison. And then at the same time, we are charged for no reason. Looking at the 21 people or the 25 people that were held at the Kawempe today, what plan do we have in regards to that particular moment where we have our people who are being arrested? Because it looks like Museveni is trying to keep us busy between the court and fighting us, court, putting us in court, being busy in court. What solution or what's the best way we are looking into 2026 if this is a continued kind of thing?
first, you'll pardon me, I will not tell you the exact plan,
Right.
because we don't want to be preempted by the regime. But I will tell you that every constitutional, every legal, every moral plan is on the table for us to be free.
Gotcha.
Every option. Yeah, thank
Gotcha.
you.
Yeah. We want to thank you, Mr. President. I know you told me you had other engagements to run to, but we want to appreciate you. And we'll be looking for more engagements such as these so that pretty much the diaspora is in direct contact and interaction with you. So we appreciate you and we keep praying for you. We are very grateful. We are with you all the way until we win.
Thank you very much, Comrade Marvin. If you would permit me before I drop off to give my special thanks to you, my brother, to you, Dr. Kauma, all of you, the facilitators. Thank you very much, Sarah. Thank you, Comrade Sasi Marvin. I know you're staying behind to keep handling. I see so many of my good friends there. I see Kanyomozi District. I see Aiden Kalisa. I see Eddie Mutwe. I see many of you here. I salute you, Dr. Morgan and others. Keep going, comrades. Keep shining. I see you, Shamim Nambasa. I see you, Dr. Chibule. I see you, Abbas. I see Wambali. I see all of you, friends. That small or big contribution that you keep putting on this, our struggle, is what keeps us going. Never give up. Never relent. Keep going. It is not going to be all smooth. It is going to be tears. It is going to be sweat. It is going to be hassle. But we shall win. That's one thing that I keep telling myself and keep reminding yourself, my brother. Don't even feel sorry for yourself. After crying, wipe your tears and move. We have been taught in the past that tears and sweat are both salty, but they give you different results. Tears are going to give you compassion and sympathy, but sweat will give you what the hell you deserve. So let us keep fighting on. We shall win. These people are cornered. They are few, they are old, and they are scared. All you have to do is not to give up. I thank you, my brothers and sisters, and may God bless you for God and my country.
God bless you, Mr. President. Thank you so much. And yeah, stay safe. Yeah, Comrade Sassi Marvin, I think now you have the shoes for most of the questions. I'm going to, I have Comrade, somebody had requested for a microphone. I think she dropped off. Yes.
Mr. Marvin, I thank the
Yeah.
president for his remarks and for staying on course with the struggle, being consistent and keeping us on track, because I think one of the biggest challenge we have in the struggle, we have a populace which is angry. We have Ugandans who are angry. So managing that anger and channeling it into productive energy for Ugandans to participate in the political process is a very challenging thing for any leader to do. So we do appreciate the president for managing to channel the anger and frustration of the Ugandan people so that they stay on course, so that they stay disciplined, to make sure that in the struggle we are committed to the cause of liberating Uganda peacefully. So we appreciate the president for that. We appreciate all our leaders. And I would like to give as many leaders an opportunity to speak on this platform. Our members of parliament would like to hear from you, and I've seen some of you in the chat, among other leaders from the party. Mr. Katana and others, I saw you on the platform. If you have a second, if you can come and say hello to the members, say a word of two, and of course we can get additional questions from the diaspora members. That will be appreciated. Mr. Marvin, thank you for hosting. Sarah, thank you for helping us with co-hosting as well. So I'd like to hand over to you. Let's engage with the members. Let's invite leaders to come and speak and keep this conversation going. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Doctor. Yes, as other members, other leaders come through, I heard our Vice President from Western Uganda, Madame Jolie, whenever you're on, this being Women's Day, I kindly ask you to come and please put up your presentation and speak to the diaspora at large. If you have a moment, please come in, then we'll start hearing from other members. Comrade Jolie, whenever you're on, please let me know. I could have you. Yeah, I don't know if she's among the people that have requested for the microphone. I see. Okay. Yes, we'll be hearing from different. Yes, I think. Yes, okay, she's here. Yes, go ahead, Madame Jolie, Jacqueline. Go ahead, please. Go ahead. It's International Women's Day. Would love to hear from you. Thank you.
Greeting our dear members of the diaspora and
yeah, I think we lost her. Yes, Doctor. I think we lost her, but she might come back on.
Yes, I think we can probably give Comrade Sassi Marvin a chance to speak, and then while we wait for our Vice President to get her system working.
Thank you.
Comrade Sassi.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Kauma. Thank you. My name's Comrade Marvin. Thank you, Sarah, and the rest of our team in the diaspora for organizing this. My name is Sas Marvin. I am the Secretary for Diaspora Affairs. I want to jump right to the question.
Marvin, can you hear anything?
Yeah, I can hear him, Doctor.
Okay, maybe it's my network on my side.
Probably. Yes, Comrade Sassi, go ahead. Yeah.
So I wanted to jump right away to the question that was posed to the president before he dropped off. I noticed he did not respond to it because of time. a comrade had inquired about the possibility of having classes, perhaps online, similar to what's going on at the School of Leadership. And that comrade is in the diaspora and was asking whether it's possible to have an online version of such classes. When the school was opened recently, the party made a communication to the effect that for now, the emphasis is on comrades or students who can access the school and the classes physically in Kampala at our former headquarters in Kamocha. But it also added that with time, there are plans to have these classes rolled out for the benefit, especially of comrades who are in the diaspora, who are for one reason or another unable to attend the classes physically. But you know, these online classes come with their own challenges. For which reason, when the school was being established, there was no immediate online classes. That, be that as it may,
yeah, Comrade Sassi, I think we're losing you. But yeah, go ahead. Now you're back.
Can you hear me, Comrade Marvin?
Now we can. Yeah, we can. Please go ahead.
Yeah, so I was saying that there have been there have been arrangements on an ad hoc basis with a few chapters to have short-term, I think I'll call them short-term classes that maybe just last a few days or perhaps a few hours per day. But these have largely been trainings of comrades, trainings of leaders, but those come on a request basis. But what I want to emphasize is that with time, there are plans to roll out online classes for the benefit of comrades in the diaspora. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Comrade Sassi. Yes, Madame Jolie, I don't know. I think we've lost you, but as you come through, we're gonna have I think this is Comrade Karim, who heads the foreign relations in the U.S. Chapter. Comrade Karim, whenever you have a moment, you can unmute, and then we'll go to, I think this is Comrade. Yes, yeah, the comrade from Toro you'll be the one next, sir. Dr. Mangeni, whenever you have a moment. Yes, Comrade Karim. The floor is yours, Comrade Karim. And Comrade Sarah, if you could go through maybe also some of the questions that we do have in the chat room, that will be good, as we have Comrade Sassi here to answer some of those questions. I appreciate you. Yeah, Comrade Karim, I think you're having issues with the microphone, but let me have Dr. Mangeni whenever you have a moment, please.
Well, I think very fast, I think those who are not speaking, mute your microphones because we're getting a lot of echo. Then mine is an observation and a quick comment. This is the first time I think this year we had a space of about 2,000 people and over, and has rapidly dropped by 700 people. That is a wrong signal. Now, there was a question that was asked about Machete. I think we started pushing this about Machete 2 days ago. We appealed to the Medical Association and have come up with an appeal that requires our backing. Again, that again appeals to our numbers. It's very wrong for us to make this struggle look like it is for the president alone, because that's where we're 2,000. I am 24/7 on spaces in America, Uganda, Kenya. This is the first time we're having a space of about 2,000 people, and it has rapidly deteriorated by 700 people. It's wrong. It's wrong. If we are going to struggle, if we are going to fight, then we must show, we must agitate, we must be seen. It encourages to have 2,000 people in a space. Sarah, you know how much we're struggling in spaces. Every day you have a space of about 50 people, 10, 20. On the struggle. Today, this is a record breaker. Then ask yourself, challenge yourselves. Why? Because the president appeared? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mangeni. Yeah, our comrades, once you ask your question, you drop the mic because then we do not have so many spaces left. Comrade Karim, Comrade Sasi, do you want to speak to that if you have a moment? Because, that was, go ahead, please.
I'm sorry, Comrade Marvin, I was wondering, speak to what in particular?
So, Mr. Dr. Mangeni, he feels this struggle is so much revolved, people's presence being on such spaces revolved around the president. Is there something you could speak to that? If you,
yes, I believe the comrade has a valid point, but I also believe it's important to note that the space was largely advertised as an interaction with the president, and most of the comrades present came in eager to listen to the president, to pose some questions, and hear from him, see what he has to say, pick some inspiration from him. I think it's only a natural reaction that when he goes off, a big number of members who were otherwise present feel that maybe they also need to step out. So I think it's understandable, but of course it's still worrying, because at the end of the day, with or without the president, we should still continue pushing the struggle. We should still continue involving ourselves in activities like this space that push struggle forward, that give us a chance to interact with each other, to commune together, and to discuss ways of pushing the struggle forward. But the main point being, if people came to listen to the president and he has left, it's understandable. I think it's understandable, although it's not ideal.
Thank you so much, Comrade Sasi. Yes, I have our Vice President, Northern Uganda, Dr. Lina Zedriga. Dr. Lina, today is International Women's Day. I know you've been with us, and we've gone through so much as in the struggle. So I would love you to say something. It's International Women's Day. I'll give you the responsibility to speak more about the role of women, what you see, and what needs to be done. Please, Dr. Lina, you're welcome. The microphone is yours.
Yeah, thank you so much, Diaspora team, under the able leadership of Dr. Daniel. Thank you, the moderators. Thank you, the team from the Secretariat. Thank you, each and every person here present who has taken out their precious moment to, as the president called, to organize, to think together, to speak together, to re-examine. I'm just recovering from a major surgery. That's why I wasn't in Kawempe. I had a major surgery, and thank you for your prayers. You will not be seeing me at least for the next 5 or so weeks, but I'll definitely be back. I'm definitely in the struggle now with the rosary. I'm praying like never before. Right. Well, today is the International Women's Day, and the theme is equality, empowerment, and human rights. I tweeted earlier today, reflecting on my country, Uganda, in 2025, the impunity with which lives are eliminated. People are killed like you. Even chicken, sometimes you have to ask your the next of kin. How do we, and when do we kill this chicken? People are in jail. I see women, a woman also remanding a very sick woman in our country, Uganda. I am very, very happy. I'm very energized that the president has continued to repronounce himself about our role, about each of our call. That is, he did tell us, and we really are on track. Now speaking about and with the women, it's very critical because a revolution without women is a failed revolution. We are the mothers. We birth revolutions, we birth life. We were supposed to have had a women demonstration going to parliament. It couldn't happen because of the brutality in Kawempe and also now the priority of Kawempe. I want to thank each and every woman in this revolution. There are very many. There are so many of us in this revolution. But most of all, those who have borne the brunt physically, psychologically, socially, emotionally, the families. We are with the families of those deprived of the heads of these families, the fathers of their children. Others are missing. This should enable us to be more than angry as women of Uganda. I recall the day I was unveiled, 8th of April, 2020, when I was asked, what is it you are bringing on board? I committed and pronounced myself and said the 3 G's, the generation, women across the generations. The 2nd G was the geography, northern region. And the 3rd G was the gender. Thank you so much that today we are re-echoing, we are re-energizing. Thank you so much to that today we are not going to allow ourselves to be boxed, to be excluded. Women do not await an invitation to these spaces. Be present. I want to thank my sister Jolie from Western, the Deputy President, Western Uganda, whom I actually had worked with before in civil society. It's very unfortunate the network could not allow her to share with us on this day. Today's call for us women, let's continue to be at the front lines. Let's continue to be resilient. Let's continue to demand to be present and be present. We do not have to be recognized. We do not have to be invited. We don't. Because when the house is on fire, which invitation do you wait for? You don't. So women, we follow track. We lead by example. I will be back very soon. It was a very, very major operation of 3 hours, surgery, but I will definitely recover. We are not going to give up. We will not give up because indeed, as the president said rightfully, the time is on our side. The people are on our side. God is on our side. Let's just continue to push in whatever way possible. Let's be inclusive. Let's be motherly. Let's be very organized. And I want us to be inoculated by what the president stated clearly. Organize. We mobilize. We organize. We agitate. Because we will need to be at the forefront of all this. We will need to support one another, not pull one another down. We will need to expose one another in terms of the different capabilities, not shelving. ourselves and let us not be accept to be shelved. No. And we have NUP, which actually does not practice that. Why do we allow ourselves to go back to the closets? We should not go back to the closets. And speaking finally to our attachment, our energizing by the president, and also speaking about the northern region and also other region. Dr. Nico is here on this platform. He has the evidence. That book, Rigged, is one evidence that energizes me always, that yes, tangibly, we won the elections. We were rigged. We were robbed. Our victory was raped. We must reclaim our dignity and at the forefront. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Alina Zedriga. We've seen most of our political prisoners that are women, especially in the last couple of, like the Kawempe, we've seen a woman being beaten pretty more, like even you cannot beat an animal to that extent, but that brutal against women. We've seen most of the women organizations that fight for women's rights are quiet about it. What efforts have been put in place to see that these organizations, I mean, in brackets, they are out there to fight for the rights of women, but they're quiet when the women are being tortured. What has been done, or have you tried to engage these different organizations as far as that is concerned?
Thank you so much. I'm a member of FIDA Uganda. I'm a member of Forum for Women Democracy. I'm a member of UONET. I have also quite engaged with a number of these women's organizations. Sarah Birete has been speaking out, has also had the spaces where we could also speak, but as women from National Unity Platform Party, we also have created our own space where a number of other women, of course, the scale has not gone up. Indeed, we, with Flavia, Honorable, and other women who also belong to the women's movement, have engaged. But of course, we've not engaged extensively. I must state that. However, speaking about this, in terms of the beating and the brutality, many of you will recall on the 20th of July, 2024, when we were supposed to have peacefully celebrated the 4 years of our existence. The offices were cordoned off the previous night. Our president was under house arrest. And by 10 o'clock, the Honorable Zakes and many other people were already picked. I remember very vividly the anger of a woman in me came up. I walked from Alerwe, having come in a border, up to the office. You saw what happened. And fought that I was not, bundled and thrown in. Because I also chose that I was not going to go in. There is a way as women when we fight. In fact, right now, there is a guilty consciousness of that very woman who also remanded another woman. So we are not doing enough online to highlight these realities, to demand, to condemn. I also conclude by saying in northern Uganda, when the rape and the cutting of women's lips and breasts was at its most, we demonstrated as the elderly women by dancing war songs. I think that is what we're left to do. We bared our breasts. I was among them in Gulu, northern Uganda. The result was amazing because the religious leaders started now coming in solidarity in the streets to stay overnight with the night commuters. Absolutely, your question has actually triggered something that we had never considered. And we are going to do it. I'm only waiting for my stitches, to get better. I'm also going to make sure we explore the womenly demonstrations, the womenly agitations, the womenly organizing, of course, with the full guidance of the Secretariat. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Madam Zedriga. I think I'm going to have Mr. Karim. Yeah, oh, go ahead, Doctor. Yeah, go ahead, Doctor.
Yeah, I have a question for Dr. Zedriga before she leaves. We have seen a concentration of resources by NRM in northern Uganda, where they have really tried to turn the tide. I think during the Besigye days, they had lost northern Uganda. Of course, NUP has support there, but it used to be a really region which was dominated by the opposition, and NRM has really focused in and put a lot of leaders in northern Uganda, the likes of Mao and others, given them cushy positions in government, and turned the tide to a certain extent in terms of the NRM impact.
You're breaking.
Yeah, I think we've lost Doctor.
What do you think more?
Okay.
You have,
yeah, no, now I can hear you.
No, we can hear you now, Doctor. We can hear you now. Yeah.
Yes, so I don't know where.
Continue.
I think you keep receiving in calls. Yeah.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if you had gotten his
question. I got the direction, and I hope I'll get it right. Northern Uganda, West Nile, where right now I am recovering, has always and has remained a very strong hold of opposition. Very unapologetically very strong. The only thing that the regime, the dictatorship regime, has done is it has militarized the space, monetized the space, sexized the space. And therefore, the time of announcement, by the way, I do not know how many of you knew that a number of our polling agents in Upongi were tied to stone and thrown in River Nile as they were protecting our victory. Because on the day of election, they went full body military for the declaration forms. These guys refused. They were tied to stones and thrown in River Nile. We are very strong hold of opposition. 1, 2, it's only that the nationwide tour was stopped, brutally stopped. You have seen it. You saw us in Koboko. You saw us in Yumbe. You have seen it. It is the militarization, the monetization, the brutalization of whole families. Even me, they've gone to my in-laws, they have gone to my friends, they have intimidated everybody. They isolate you, you know?
Yeah.
So it is not true. It's not true that NRM is in Northern Uganda. No. It is the militarization. It is the monetization. It's the brutalization. Many people have also died and paid the price. It's the isolation now. Just let there be no blocking of organizing. You will see. For example, in Paida, people cannot even have the T-shirts of NUP in their houses. They are picked. And yet, at the police station, you see these people wearing the NRM T-shirts. That's the level of impunity. So that Dr. Daniel is not true. It's not true. It's just the militarization. It's just the propaganda continued. But the truth is, we are very solid in Northern Uganda, in West Nile. And by the way, I'm going to run. And for us, it will be either death or life. But we are going to be the Uganda martyrs of this generation.
Thank you so much, Dr. Lena Zedriga. And yeah, so as other questions will be coming through, please, you can stay online. Council Sassi, if you've heard
I'm in
anything
bed,
that
so
you
I'm
want
on the
to,
line.
that's okay. Yeah, Council Sassi, if you want to speak to anything that has been asked, please, you're always welcome to come in. Comrade Karim, Doctor, I don't know if you're back on.
Yes, yes. Can you hear me,
Yeah,
Marvin?
I can hear you. Go ahead, Mr. Karim.
Oh, all right. Mine will be quick. First of all, happy Women's Day to all our comrades here. Happy Women's Day, especially our Vice President, Dr. Zedriga, and thank you so much for being part of this space. I think I have two or three comments to make. One, the earlier comrade said, there is need for us to continuously have these engagements where we have the diaspora reconnect with the people on ground. It will help us re-energize. It will give us a proper organization of the diaspora, knowing that we are in tune with what's going on ground. It also helps our leaders speak directly to the diaspora and get our message out without the message being diluted. Secondly, adding on to that, there is need for us to continue having this online Kulavisa. We have to expose the regime. The regime is in a situation where it has lost gravitas, and they are hanging on to whatever they can hang on to stay relevant. And I'll give one specific example here in the United States where we are. Uganda has lost leverage on most of the things that they used to hold them dear for. We have lost leadership on being the security campus in the Great Lakes region. They are shifting everything to Kenya. We have also lost the goodwill of many development partners. And what we have been remaining with is the card for hosting refugees. And I must tell you, comrades, that 2 days ago, the Ugandan ambassador to the US received an award on behalf of the government of Uganda for their leadership on hosting refugees. Now, they are hiding themselves behind refugees, but the record doesn't show that. I must tell you, comrades, that in 2022, the International Criminal Court ordered Uganda to pay the DRC $325 million US. And out of that $325 million, it were $225 million for raping young children and women by the UPDF, for displacement of over 500,000 people, and for the killing of innocent civilians. 60 million went to was ordered for Uganda to pay for plundering mineral resources, for stealing mineral resources, and damaging the landscape of the DRC. And the 40 million was for the destruction of property. Now, when you see a country in such a situation that is taking pride in hosting over 2 million refugees, we have to ask ourselves, where do these refugees come from, and what are the situations behind the countries where they are coming from? So seeing refugees coming in from the DRC, coming in from South Sudan, and everywhere else, it's a way of building PR for the regime, because they have lost gravitas everywhere else. It is very painful to see Ugandan representatives here stand in broad daylight and receive an award on behalf of millions of people suffering in DRC, on behalf at the expense of Ugandans who are paying the price. You and me are paying the 325 million US dollars that was ordered by the ICJ. So why am I making this point? Is that we should continue highlighting some of these things that the regime is doing. The regime is trying to do a better way of getting back in the eyes of the international community, doing good PR. But with our resistance online and on ground, believe me, we shall defeat them. They are right now being they are right now in the evening hours of their rule, and young people and women and men of Uganda, if we stand up today and keep resisting this, I believe we shall achieve victory sooner or later. I want to thank you again, the organizers of this event. I want to again wish our ladies a wonderful International Women's Day. Thank you so much for the resilience, and thank you for supporting our comrades that are running from the bottom up on the ballot of NUP. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Karim. We have Josephine from Kenya, and after Josephine from Kenya, Comrade Sarah, if you can go through the questions probably that need answering in the chat, that would be good. The mic will be yours, Comrade Sarah, after Josephine. Yes, Comrade Josephine from Kenya. Habari.
Zuri, hamjambo. Thank you so much. I would really want to appreciate you and especially the Diaspora team for taking this opportunity to actually stand and speak, to hear from His Excellency Robert Chagulanyi. I really salute him. I'm really happy wherever I see him address and see to wake up and decide that the new dawn of Uganda must come. In the last election, I really followed him, and even when he was put in the house arrest, we were very furious about it, and we are looking forward to see to it that actually he takes up the position of leadership in Uganda, so that he can rescue and also bring a change. You see, even in Kenya, you realize that as much as will ask you, who is the Museveni of Kenya? And it's very unfortunate, because children have been born and have matured, and they have even their grandchildren, they've never seen another president. It's not all about they've never seen another president because things are good, no. But because of oppression and intimidation. And the people from the diaspora, you can be of great help to the country of Uganda, because some of the things that you can hear out, they can really help the country, especially those who are within the country may not be able to say some of the things. However, when you are in the international, you can create, you can post, you can express yourself, and you know you are safe. And like those of us who are hurriedly in Uganda. So it's my prayer and great hope to see that you keep on doing a proper calculation on what to happen in the next election, and at the same time, we also need to capitalize a lot. Personally, I get irritated when somebody does oppress you. Even when I do not know you, I'll speak. And that's one problem we have as activists. We never keep quiet no matter who is being oppressed. You don't know that person, but you'll still speak. And that's how I always feel. It's also good that we capitalize so much on actually ensuring that we are the voice for the people who are political prisoners in Uganda, and we have to keep on pushing Museveni until he realizes whatever he's doing is human, and no one deserves to be punished because of their political affiliation or their political stand. At the same time, I urge you, you need to keep into record any officer who has been captured by the cameras trying to torture a woman, trying to torture an innocent citizen who didn't have any firearm, and they decided to kill them. Once you take up the position of the president of Uganda, which I know this time around God is going to give you, actually make sure justice is brought into books on behalf of those citizens who lost their lives innocently. I really feel bad when I hear somebody talking about people were tied stones on them and were thrown in River Nile. It's very sad. And we cannot continue like this. We need to stand up as Africans and speak for Africa. If you have voice and God has given you that voice to speak, you should be the voice of Africa and the voice of everyone in the world. Let's keep our focus. Also, let's keep on calculating and trying to see what is happening in the world, because looking at what has just happened by the USA stopping the USAID funding, this will affect a lot of African countries and also many countries in the world. There will be some crises, but we need to start thinking on our own and independently. So, President Robert, kindly, I also ask you, when you are thinking about that, start thinking also on long-term ending of provision of grants from international communities, whereby they are giving us grants when they want, and when they decide they are going to stop them, they stop them and we fall into crisis. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to speak to Ugandans. I really appreciate you. I love you, and you are our brothers. We stand with you. Thank you.
Karibu sana. Thank you so much, Josephine from Kenya. Yes, Sarah, the floor is yours if there are questions that need to be addressed in the chat. Thank you.
Yes, there's a couple of questions, and I believe some of them can be answered either by different people.
Thank you so much. Marvin, are you still on?
Yeah, you can go on, Doctor.
I don't
Sarah
think he can hear me.
Oh, yeah, Doctor, I think whenever they call you, you lose your connection. Yeah, go ahead, Sarah.
Okay, so the question we have here is, do we have, I think this you can answer, do we have people power or NUP in Germany? And if so, which city? And that was from Suna Jacobs. And then we have one from Asaba Mugara, and it is, what is the plan to have more undecided voters to NUP? How can we make the party more desirable? And then we have another one from Stone 256, and he says, how is the organization in Western Uganda? It looks like we need more emphasis in other regions away from Uganda. And that is also echoed by Pereziano Skills, who says, how deep can NUP go in areas out of Buganda, because we have places that need more mobilization, like Namutumba, Kaliro, and more. And then the last one we have, there's one from Moji Martin, but I see he's got the mic, so he probably will ask that. And then there is one more which says, is it possible for all parties to unite and front one candidate for the election 2026 general election? So I'll stop there for now.
Thank you so much. Sarah. Council Sassi, I'll leave you answer some of those questions, but the comrade that did ask about Germany, yes, we do have a German chapter, and I pray that Comrade Jeremy, you're on here, you could guide more, and also our council leader from Germany, our council leader for EU, because that's under his territory. You could speak to that. But yes, true. Actually, Doctor also could speak to that. If he gets the microphone, he could speak to that. That would be really good. Doctor, briefly, somebody asked about Germany. If we do have a chapter there, and I had said yes in your absence, and more from the council leader. But if you want to speak to that, that will be good. And then Comrade Sassi Marvin could go on for the other questions that were asked. Doctor?
Yes, I think the comrade can reach out to me. I can connect them to the Mr. Chitunzi, who is the lead of that region of the EU. I can message me, and then I can connect them to the leadership of Europe so that we can situate them in the right chapter.
Thank you so much, Doctor.
Thank you.
Yeah. Comrade Sassi.
Yes, Comrade Marvin. I'm still on. I want to majorly respond to the last question you posed from I think Martin, basically asking, if I recall well, he was asking whether it's not possible for the opposition to field one candidate in the elections.
And then how best can we attract more people to like our party? That was also one of the other questions. Yeah.
Yes.
The floor is yours. Thank you.
I think I'll try to combine them.
Okay.
I think, to be fair to everyone involved, there has been genuine goodwill from leaders across the board, from opposition leaders across the board. I think the leadership of our party, the National Unity Platform, has gone out of its way to engage in conversations about the struggle with leaders of sister opposition parties, at least those leaders who public consensus would have it that they are still on track. But at the end of the day, I think it's important for all of us to understand that at the end of the day, different parties have, like they say, unfortunately, politics or the struggle is, in some cases, or for some people, just about interests. And so you will find that a joint opposition candidate is ideal, but only if a certain candidate is a joint. I don't want to be misquoted. If a certain candidate is the joint candidate, so you will find supporters, without pointing out any particular opposition party or particular opposition group, you'll find that supporters of the various opposition parties want their leaders to be the joint candidate. And where they see a scenario where that might not be possible, then you have issues. But we must also not discount the efforts that the regime has put into making sure that such a scenario does not occur. It has sponsored a lot of propaganda against various opposition players. We saw we saw the state in which retired Colonel Dr. Kiza Besigye was in after embarking on a hunger strike. The same thing our comrade Machete is doing. We saw comrades online, unfortunately also some comrades who have got quite a following in the diaspora, coming out on social media and saying Dr. Besigye is is in some scheme with the regime, to gain relevance through these antics and all that. And of course, such comments are not just unfortunate, but then they also make it extremely hard to now have a conversation of joint candidature and all that. But still, to relate it with the other question, how can we make especially those people who are not yet either members or supporters of NUP to support it? I think that question can be answered in several ways. But for me as a person, what I usually say is that what we do, as who are already supporters of the party, as who are already members or as who are already leaders in the party, we should live, act, and speak by example. We should interest others to join the party based on what they see ourselves doing, based on what they hear us say. If what we say, if how we conduct ourselves does not give an outsider or a fence sitter the confidence and the courage and the interest to join the party, of course they will not. But the other thing we must also appreciate is that not everyone who does not support NUP, or to stretch it, not everyone who does not support the opposition, not every such person is actually incapable of supporting NUP or of joining, or at least of sympathizing with the opposition generally. I keep saying that we all joined the struggle on different dates. Like, we are all born in different years. We have all gotten awakenings about different things in life at various stages. Our own leader of the party was not in politics from day one. yes, he was singing about issues that have a great bearing on politics. He was calling for free and fair elections and all that, but you cannot say that he was involved in mainstream politics. So at the end of the day, each one of us has their own time when they joined. Each one of us we have our own experiences. We have what made us join. It's important to understand that while we try to interest other comrades in joining or in supporting the party, the fact that they don't support it or they are not members at this time does not mean, number one, that they are incapable. Number two, it does not mean they are stupid, right? So we have to be patient with them, show them good examples. We have to give a good image of the party. If what those who have not yet joined the party, if what they see us doing does not um, give them confidence to join the party, of course they will not. Of course they will not. I think I've tried to answer. The questions.
Thank you so much, Comrade Councillor Sassi Marvin, for that. We've been running for 2 hours. I will have to ask our doctor to give us the final remarks, so we could see. We'll keep organizing more of these spaces, comrades, and whenever you see them, please tag people out so that we can always come here ahead of time and then discuss more important issues regarding our nation. Doctor?
Hey, did Joe get a chance to speak? I see Joe, because I know I was off for a few
Oh,
minutes.
Joe. Yeah.
I see Joe, Duke, and one. If you can please, at least 2 minutes each, and then we can wrap up the space. I know people are dropping off already.
And Dr. Morgan. Yes.
So
Joe.
please, let's do that, and then we can close up.
Thank you very much, Marvin. Thank you very much, Dr. Daniel Kauma, and Sarah for organizing this Twitter space. I'm going to try to be fast. Yes, we have less than 12 months to the general elections, and I can say that the state of the struggle is strong. That we also know that the dictator today is isolated, he's weak, and he's a pariah of sorts. However, we need a clear strategy to keep pushing to achieve our victory. The president, I know, spoke about the protest vote. Yes, protest vote, but I really think we are going to wait for the protest vote, and here's why. If you try interrogate the state of the struggle, particularly against the backdrop of the current political landscape, there are a number of issues that we need to highlight. Currently, there is a surge in the abductions, in the torture, rape, murders, or assassinations across the country. We've seen pictures in Karamoja. We've seen pictures, in Uganda, in particular in Kampala, our comrades who were arrested on trumped-up charges. We also see the weaponization of the ghetto youth, in particular those goons whose faces are masked, and we know that they're not gazetted in any military institution, but this is how Museveni has chosen to attack, oppress, and weaken opposition. We also see that the dictator is trying to revive the military tribunals, which were actually declared illegitimate. He wants to revive those military, tribunals. We've seen he has assembled his NRM caucus to try to bring a new bill. Now, all these things that are happening, ladies and gentlemen, they set the stage for the upcoming elections. So what can we expect? The field is not going to be leveled, and it's not good. The elections are not going to be free and fair. And we shouldn't be deluded. So going forward, we must be radical, we must be strategic, and we must be intentional. We have to resist and defy all these attempts by the regime to attack the opposition. So, but above all, we have to organize, we have to mobilize across the country. And I think the right scenario would be to preempt even these elections, because what is going to happen maybe will be much worse than what happened in 2021. So we don't want another bloodbath. But what each one of us can do is to really organize, to activate people in our personal networks of at least 10 people. We can all do this. I think going forward, that is what we need to do so that we're in a state of readiness to activate our people. There are going to be many, many triggers. And actually, we could use the mobilization strategically. And when a trigger happens, we can activate our people so that we preempt the 2026. This is very, very, very possible. But to do this, we have to be united, we have to be disciplined, and we really have to redouble our efforts. Today, ask yourself, are you doing enough? Given your privileged position, are you doing enough to push the struggle? So that is really my position. So let's be in a state of perpetual readiness. Once there is a trigger, we get our people on the streets through an uprising. Museveni will go, and this will save us a lot of misery, bloodshed, and what have you. I yield the mic, Comrade Marvin. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Joe. Actually, I had somebody asked one of your question from your chapter at one point about the Sweden chapter. They are interested in hosting the president. So I will not address that, but Comrade
We are
Marvin
working
probably
on it,
says it.
Comrade. We're
Yeah.
working on it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Joe. I appreciate for your work. Yes, Doctor, who else you heard?
I think that's everyone who had the microphone. Was there anyone else, I think, who hasn't spoken?
Yeah.
I don't know if I still have a microphone,
yes.
but I'm not yet.
Yes, go
Wounded
ahead,
Ugandan.
please.
Yeah.
Yes, let me just use my 2 minutes to thank the Noob Diaspora platform, the leadership of Dr. Daniel Kauma, Marvin, the leadership of National Unity Platform, His Excellency Robert Chagulanyi Sentamu, for giving us this time and a lot of different solutions to different challenges that we are facing as oppressed people of Uganda and as the members of National Unity Platform. I have very short comments to make. First of all, I want to thank the people of Uganda who have come out strongly to condemn the actions of JAT, the illegal JAT, or what some of you are terming as the hooded men in black overalls. Thank you very much, and please continue amplifying sound whenever you see injustice occurring in our country. It was a good gesture today to see these people that even when they might have been in the rally in Kawempe, they camouflaged. They did not come up with black hoods. So thank you. That shows that your voices are actually being heard. And secondly, I want to say the solution to all this, whether it is today or tomorrow or after tomorrow or the year next, it will take all of us to rise up, the people of Uganda. I think Machete's life hangs in our hands. We should not allow another Segirinya to happen when we are watching. We have for so long tolerated wrongdoings, and we know that it's wrong. And I think it's upon all of us to stop this. For example, the unconstitutional court martial, which was stopped after the arrest of Dr. Kizza Besigye, but it has been existing even when we all know that it's unconstitutional. We live in a country when we all know that we are being governed by people who don't follow the constitution. And yet we are the majority Ugandans. So my call upon to you all Ugandans as I conclude, please get involved. And when we are united, we are better than when we are fighting individually. Twerwaneko sawa ya self defense buli omu werwaneko ate bwe twegatta tusobola ffenna okutunula eggwanga lyaffe. Thank you very much, comrades, and I rest my
Yeah,
case.
thank you so much, Comrade Wounded Ugandan, and for the words of encouragement. Doctor, whenever you have a moment, I'll need your closure part so that we could close. It's been running for 2 hours. Yep. Whenever you have a moment, Doctor. Doctor, did I lose you? Oh yeah, your microphone. I think you might need to go off and come back. I can see you trying to mute and unmute at the same time. We can't hear you, Doctor. Yes, Richard. Richard, as we wait for Doctor to come on, you have a microphone. Richard? Oh, actually, it could be me having an issue. Richard, can you hear me? Comrade Sasi, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. I think it's a problem on their side. Comrade Richard, Yes, Councillor Sasi, give us your closing remarks as we wait for Doctor.
Thank you, Comrade Marvin. I want to reiterate my appreciation to all of you, comrades in the diaspora, the leadership of Dr. Kauma, for all the efforts for organizing this interaction. Of course, I want to re-echo the words of the president, where he requested you, our comrades in the diaspora, to keep doing what you've been doing. Please don't stop. Don't reach somewhere and you assume, these protests outside the White House, these protests at the different embassies, they are not working, they are not effective. They are effective and they work. But of course, when it comes to the regime, they have to use reverse psychology and they show you that you're wasting time. What you're doing is inconsequential. It's not felt on ground. You find people saying, if you really want to contribute to the struggle, come back to Uganda, as if to make you feel like that whatever you're doing outside the country does not matter and does not push the struggle forward. I want to steal just a few seconds to tell you that every time comrades have come out of illegal detention, every time our comrades who had been abducted have resurfaced, they have always said one thing, that whenever they go missing and they see a tweet, their abductors see social media going up in flames demanding for free Rovans, free this one, free the other one. They see the president tweeting, they see the president talking about it at press conferences, they see the abduction becoming an issue. That forces them to even change the tactics. If they had been receiving strokes of the pen every day, the abductors will stop. So those actions that you take, they might appear small or insignificant or inconsequential in the moment, but please, just like the president said, keep doing exactly that. Ultimately, they all add up and eventually we shall get where we want to go. Thank you once again for your time. Thank you once again for the sacrifice. Please keep going.
Aruta continua. Thank you so much, Council Sasi Marvin. Yes, Doctor, I think it's your moment.
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you now. Yes. Go ahead, Doctor.
Yes, I want to thank everyone for being able to attend this space. Thank you for our team from Uganda under the leadership of our President Robert Sentam Chagulanyi, our Secretariat team, our diaspora for staying in high spirit in spite of the ups and downs. I thank all our leadership in the diaspora, all our members. Let's stay focused on our 3 key issues. Let's keep organizing. Let's keep mobilizing and agitating for change. We shall be having a diaspora general call this month led by our Canada chapter. We shall announce that shortly. We're going to be announcing another diaspora day of protest. This is going to be a continuation until our political prisoners are freed. We have and others. So we're going to continue drumming that drum wherever we can with our stakeholders here in the United States, European Union stakeholders. We're going to continue pushing until the political prisoners are freed. So let's continue those efforts. Let's continue supporting our brothers in Uganda. Let's be visible on social media. And we haven't been able to get all your ideas and views, but we'll continue organizing these sessions and engaging with you. Sarah, thank you for taking note of all the questions. If there's anything that we did not address, we shall be addressing it in our next engagement. But overall, I just want to thank everyone for listening in, and of course for loving your country and being actively involved in the struggle. Let's keep marching forward until our country is free. I would like to, Mr. Marvin, I don't know if you can still hear me, to give Sarah the last word, to give us maybe a closing prayer and also some final remarks from some of the questions you got, and then we can wrap up the session. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Doctor. Yes, Comrade Sarah.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for staying up to the end. And thanks for the questions. Thanks for sparing the time to do this, especially people in diaspora. We do not take this lightly, and it means a lot. And I would like to close this with a few words from some of the questions we get from our friends, both from Uganda and non-Ugandans, who keep asking us, why do you do this? Why do you do this tirelessly? What do you gain from this? I always tell them sometimes you find it very difficult to explain to people, especially if they're not from Uganda. But even some of our Ugandan friends who are not quite involved, who lost themselves, they don't see any hope. I usually try to remind them that we don't do this because we are in a comfortable place. It doesn't mean that we have to stop agitating for change. And I would like to share with you a quick quote from Rumi. It says, "It may be that satisfaction I need depends on my going away, so that when I have gone, I come back. I will find it at home." So whatever we went for, we thought that we would find satisfaction, but ultimately our hearts and everything we thought we wanted is at home. And this is why we keep doing this. I wish and hope that everybody joins hands. We do this together until we see a new Uganda. And before we go, we have the issue of machete. I would like us to maybe increase the sound, increase the volume, like they said. The more we agitate for this, these people do not listen until we shout. And we've seen it, it's evident that each time they've taken someone, if we keep quiet, especially the first few days, they relax. We have to keep agitating for Machete's release. We cannot let that happen on our hands. And while you're still here, I have a quick request. I know there's a pinned tweet which is for Chibalama. Please, please, please help me to look through the petition, sign it, share it with people. It is the smallest thing we can do to the family of John Bosco Chibalama, to show them that we stand with them, to show them that we will never give up on John Bosco Chibalama and the missing 18. With those few words, I'll hand the mic over to you, Marvin. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Comrade Sarah. Happy Women's Day. Happy Women's Day to all the ladies in the struggle. We are here to stand in unity every day in things that we do. We want to appreciate the team from Kampala. We want to appreciate everybody who has had time to come and attend this space. As Dr. mentioned, this space will keep happening. Let's keep following each other. Let us look out for where we can contribute positively towards our nation and to liberate our nation. Thank you so much, Comrade Marvin, and thanks everybody for turning up. God bless you. Aruta continua. Stay blessed and talk to you soon. Thank you.
Okay, that is it. President Kyagulanyi Ssentamu Robert Bobi Wine abadde ayogerako ne bannayuganda bali mu diaspora ne bannayuganda bonna bali ewaka ku nkyukakyuka ze twetaaga nakye tulina okukola. mulimu gwange mulimu gwaffe okutuukiriza bye twetaaga eggwanga liffe lifaanane ate nga tulina bikola kati si nkya wabula kati okulaba nga Uganda yaffe eteerebera ensi ennungi ffenna gye twegwanyiza era ffenna gye tweyagaliramu abaana n'abazzukulu bagyeyagaliremu era basanyuke nno tulina kye twakola twalwana ofuula ensi eno ennungi eyeegombesa ogobamu nakyemala gino Dr. Museveni ne famire ye baagala nnyo mwera